Okay, so if you see in last session, where are we? So basically, we were here until let's go to AWS Glue. So in AWS Glue, where are we? Last time we are into databases. We have created some databases, Glue practice database, and this database, and I have established or connected my S3 bucket to here, so that in S3 bucket I have my data there ready, so that I have linked my S3 bucket to this database, and using the crawler I have created a table here. This is a table that consists of only metadata, like I discussed previously. The metadata is nothing but only the uh, contents. What that's an overview of the table, not real content there. If you can see year, industry, these are the column names that's inside, and this may consist of this string types, like a string, big integer. This is what this is all the metadata that you will store in the tables in the databases. Okay, so that is all about one of the important factors. So like I said, if you are talking about AWS Glue, there are two important components. So I talked about data stores, and then using the scrollers I have created a metadata, and I have created this table, and we will schedule job. That's another part. So there are two main components in AWS Glue, like I said. One is like data catalog part, and another one is ETL. That's the main core component of the AWS Glue. So before that, there is another resource. See, always try to make resources notable. Like you may be learning multiple resources. You can mention in your resumes. Like for AWS Glue, we are learning many resources like what is S3, what is IAM, and Glue. So always try to mention in your resumes, hey, I know this many resources in AWS. That would be useful for you guys. So Athena is one of the resources that AWS provides. See, Athena is serverless interactive analytics service. So what I can do in Athena, if you want to run some query, you understood, right? If you want to run some query, you can use Athena here. Like I said, Google Drive, we have multiple cloud platforms where we store the unstructured data. This is the advantage of these cloud resources where you can query the structured data. You don't have to use any other outside resource or tool to query your data. SQL Workbench. You don't need to take these resources. So AWS is saying, hey, I have everything from me only. You can work on SQL inside me. You can store data inside from me, and you can work on this query from me. So I came into Athena. If you go to the Athena, there is something called query editor. If you come here, you can click on AWS data catalog, and you can click on the catalog, and you can select databases. We have two databases that we created. When I'm talking about Glue, I'm trying to select this database. When I try to select this database, it's automatically retrieving a data table, because in this database only using the crawler we have created a table. In that table we have that's automatically getting here because that's inside this database. So if you come here and click this is the metadata we got. You can preview the table here, preview the table. Yeah, I haven't configured this for you guys. So basically it should, when I click on preview, it should show you the preview, but why it's not showing? This is just a metadata. You don't have any data to show you. So when you're trying to do this, see, it is saying before you run your first query in this Athena, you should set up the query location in Amazon S3 from where you are trying to run this. See, you have to query this. You have to take this. Got it? Setting successfully updated. Editor. See, running completed. Now you can access the data. This is all the contents of the data. You can write multiple queries here. You can set limit 10, so that shows only the 10 records here. If you set it to 100, that's more about SQL. We can discuss it later in the SQL sessions. So, but yeah, this Athena gives you the future of querying your database. You can say like when you have your data ready in your storage devices or across anywhere, you can retrieve it here using the SQL queries. So this is one of the future of Athena that I want to discuss before going into the ETL. Okay, let's move to the AWS Glue again. See, in AWS Glue, there are two important components: data catalog and ETL jobs. ETL jobs you have here also. ETL job. What is ETL job? As a data engineer, for this data engineers or analyst, data analyst, this plays very important role. So guys, I try to cover resources for every domain guys. Basically for SAP guys, for data guys and other platforms .NET. I will try to cover what all needed for the different platforms. I'll try to cover those resources. So this is more ETL is primarily useful for data engineers and analysts, where others can also easily understand. You will be having a data source. You may be having a table. They are saying you, hey, your client is asking you, hey, we have some tables. Extract that table, take that table data from somewhere. Extract, what do you mean extract? Extracting the coal. So you're taking out, okay, taking out the coal, extracting, and transform it like I need. So transform here, what you should transform, you are saying you have, okay, you have 10 rows here. Remove one row. That is transformation only, right? From 10 to 9 rows. That's a transformation. You can write that logic. I'm just saying in words, but it should be written in script, right? So here you are saying in script format, hey, uh, mm, transform this so and so and load this data and again keep the data. You're transforming. Again, you have to keep it somewhere, right? You modified your Word document, you modified your resume according to the job requirement, and you have to again save that new modified resume somewhere. So this is the data target. Again, you can store it in S3 wherever you want. Okay, this is how ETL works. This is the basic, simple example of the ETL. So this job is done. So in order to do this thing, AWS Glue is giving you this feature called AWS ETL jobs. So coming to the ETL jobs, if you can observe here, it is saying script. You have to write the script. You can write the scripts manually, the logics. Then what's the use of AWS? If I am doing everything, I can use another platforms also, right? Then AWS is saying, hey, you can write your script manually also, or you can write your script. I will write your script based on the metadata and data source and mention me what I have to transform. There are already predefined transformations available. So it is saying, mention me or inform me what I have to do transformations, then I will do the transformations. It will automatically generate script and it's loading. So it's reducing your time to write the script. Okay, but if your business having own requirement that is already not defined or it's little complex, you can write your own scripts there. Okay, let me show you the practical example of that. I don't know. See, see, yeah, basically I have to I forgot this one to tell you. So basically AWS Glue is serverless. For every resource, for example, if you're running like on first day, I told you about EC2 instance, that's a system server in which will run review applications and all, for which you have to maintain a server. But AWS Glue is serverless. Okay. Okay. And coming to the next step.
तो नहीं जी खीर पूरी तो भेज बने
Say,
क्या खीर पूरी
say. So it is asking you to create ETL jobs. I have already created my job. Job. Job name is very important. What is your job? To apply jobs, to learn. Okay. And this is your job. So everyone have their own jobs and their own versions. So there are something called jobs. So in ETL, there are multiple jobs. Once the job is run, that function should will be completed. For example, in this job, something is there, transformation or something that gets done if you run this job. So that's how it is. So you can, it is saying in AWS Glue, you can create your job using Visual UTL, Notebook, script editor, author code with script editor. You have to write your own script. You have to create your own notebook. And this is the AWS feature that is saying, hey, I will run my scripts. Just give me what I have to do. This automatically does things for us. It automatically writes the scripts for us. Let me show you. Let me create the visual ETL. So this is how it looks. Let me name this. Okay. So this is a plain bird. So let me come here. Understand this process. I have to get my data and then transform, and then I have to load it. Three steps, right? So pipeline is nothing but we will always say, what is pipeline? In your home, there is pipeline from tank to tap. There are different pipelines. One to the washroom, one to the bedroom, oh sorry, one to the kitchen room. So you have multiple pipelines. So it's nothing but a connection from where to where. What what should be done? That's how it is. Okay. So what I have to do initially, I have to take data from somewhere. I have to do some transformation. So I have to take data from somewhere, right? I have my data in S3 bucket. Okay. I can configure this S3 bucket. What I can do, S3 bucket, I can choose location, S3 bucket name. I have my data in sample bucket scans as hotel data, customer data. This is my CSV data. Okay. This data is in which format? CSV format, right? Okay. I'm choosing it here. Okay. Then what we should do after retrieving the data, after taking the data, node is misconfigured. Data previewed will be displayed when following node is correctly configured.
Hello.
Data format CSV. You have to mention the IAM role. Which role? We have prepared the IAM role, right? This role. So in order to perform this job, basically this takes all these accesses from there. What all mentioned in here. Type error, null is not an object. So okay, it's evaluating the data inside this. Okay. And I have to name this job. What I should say? ETL job sample one. You can keep this IAM role same one, and this is a Spark jobs, and this is the versions, and you are taking worker type depending on the complexity of your work. Yeah, this all remains unchanged. Okay, and then source is there. We took the source. Now we have, I need transformation. I have to do some transformation. What should we do? We can select transformation as drop field. That means we are saying we have selected drop field. Our job is to drop some fields from this table. We have some table, right? Inside that, we have to remove sub tables. So we are selecting this job tables. I said these are the different types of transformations. In this, I have selected drop fields. So like for your job requirement or your company requirement, you can drop your field. Which field I want to remove? It is asking, hey, you have this many columns. Which field you want to remove? So if I click here, what it does, it removes value column from the table. This is how you're doing transformation. If you're having complex tables, if you have multiple tables, this looks easy, but if you have multiple data and multiple tables, this is making your job easy for you. Okay. And then I took the data. I said I need dropping field. This is my transformation needed. There are many transformations available. So we did up to step 2. This step is done, this step is done, and then another step is load step, that is target load data target. We have to we have to keep this data somewhere right after transformation. Let's come back here and add target, where I should keep. I want to keep in S3 only. See, in S3, where you want to keep? I can keep my data in tutorial buckets, Abdul. See, data is transformed at some place. Data is getting from some other S3 bucket, transforming it, keeping it in another bucket. So in your job, how can you practice like this? You can keep the S3 bucket as transformed data, so that data transformed goes into the transformed data folder. That would be looking very perfect, right? Like inside transformed data folder, you'll be having all transformed data there. So in real time, you'll keep the good practice there. Okay, data catalog, update options. Do not update the data catalog. I'll keep it as I won't do any transformations. I believe everything is done. If you can see here, this automatically written the script. This is the advantage of the AWS Glue. If this is not there, Visual ETL, we have to manually write all these logics. Like we have to write all these logics, but AWS is writing it for us to get the data, to drop the data, I mean to transform the data and to where it to write it. So it is automatically writing everything for us. Okay, let me save this and I can run this. Job is running. You can check the job status here. Still running. Still running. Hey guys, when this is running, I wanna tell you something. Like I said, if you guys have any demands, like hey, I need AWS Lambda to be discussed. I need AWS Redshift to be discussed. If you have any requirements or suggestions, you can give me. If not, I will not know, right? There are hundreds of resources available in AWS, so I don't know which resources you guys need. So if you guys mention me personally, if you don't want to mention in group, that's still fine. I can add it to my list so that I can discuss about it. So some of them are requesting me to discuss on Lambda or something, so that if even if you want some other resources to be discussed, you can mention it to me. And even I have my recordings ready for the last 3 days. I have uploaded in my YouTube, and I will post that playlist here after this session so that you guys can go and practice there. And I would say practicing would make you perfect. Like you guys will easily understand, and you won't forget these concepts. If you don't practice, you'll easily forget. But if you practice it, even at your interview, you can talk it with a confidence. Okay. See, our job got succeeded. Run status is success. Where we can check this, what we have to do, verify now. This is saying success. If you can see here, this is all job data, this is script, this is run. So we have did until this step. We said we have data, we have to drop a file name here, and we loaded it, and the data target is here. So what we have to verify? We have to verify, hey, if the transformed data is going inside this or not. Let me go to the target. Let me go to the S3 bucket there. I have two buckets. Okay. Where I said I want my transform data to be here, right? If you can see, Abdul tutorial bucket Abdul. Previously, this that file is not here. Now we have that paraquet file. See, this is our file that got created. So the transformed data is getting stored here. Likewise, you can, what I can say, differentiate the folders. Even you don't have to store the transform data here. In buckets only, if you are working here, you are taking data from here and you can create another folder here, transformed hotel data. You can give destination as here so that you can check all the transformed data related items here. Okay. Transformed bucket Abdul. Okay, I don't have some application to show it. You guys can check it in Athena also. That's a perfect. Proceeding. Then SQL query, I would definitely say it would show you throw you the error. Yeah, so that you guys can use Amazon Athena, like I previously said, you guys can verify it there, the tables and columns. So this is how you're gonna store the transform data into other places wherever you want. And I forgot to mention you guys another concept. Where is that? Freeform. ETL jobs. Yeah, triggers. There is something called AWS triggers here. If you can come here, AWS Glue. See, I have run my job. So every time there is no need like you have to run your job immediately. Now I have run it because I have to show it when it's run is successful, whether it's getting stored or not. I have to show it to you guys. That's why I ran it. But in real time, what happens? Maybe if company wants to do some deployments or whatever, they will be having a schedule. Before that, they will make their jobs ready and everything get ready for the to deploy at the time of the schedule. Like when the schedule they want to deploy at that time. So you have multiple items here. You can see AWS detail jobs, data catalogs, and this one you have triggers here. Trigger. How what is trigger? Like you know, right? Some guys get triggered due to some points. So let me show you. There are two types of triggers here. You can mention the trigger name. Uh, Run ETL job. You guys can use triggers to run ETL jobs we had. Okay. On demand. That means you have to run that ETL job only when it is demanded. Like you can say in previous example, when I shown you, I went and there and I have clicked on run, right? That's on demand. I want that and I'm running it. Or you guys have your triggers ready and you can run it. That is manual thing. Or you can schedule it here. You can schedule like at frequency daily at this time. So what happens even if you don't do anything at that time, AWS automatically runs this job. You can run this daily, hourly, weekly, monthly. I can say hourly, 13 minutes. Next, add target resource. Where is your resource type? Job. I have two jobs, right? ETL sample job one. Add one. Next, create. See, we have this ETL job ready. Sorry, trigger job ready here. So basically what happens? So we said it hourly. So what it will try to do? Triggers. Let me come back here. So what is do this trigger? We have this ETL run ETL job. After 13 minutes past the hour, this will trigger this job. This will automatically run. I don't have to run. So likewise, will be having our jobs ready and we can trigger it based on the time when we want to run that job. We can trigger it. For example, you have for running this job, maybe you need other job to be run first. So you can say, okay, maybe the job takes in half an hour, so that you can schedule it after half an hour or 1 hour. Then this get triggered after the job. Like this, you guys can connect it here. And if you come here, there is another concept, freeform. See, there is something called AWS glue connection. What is AWS glue connections? You can create connections. You want to data your data to you want your data to get injected, right? To do some transformations from maybe your data is in Amazon RDS, relation database, Amazon Redshift, and JDBC. You guys can configure it here. If you can see, there is something called connections. Maybe you have your data somewhere. You can see create connection. Maybe you're having your data in Amazon Redshift, Aurora, Cosmos, multiple. Maybe you're having your data at different places. You can select Amazon Redshift if your data is in Amazon Redshift. You can come here and then click the Redshift clusters if you have available. You can log in using the endpoint database endpoints. Maybe you see if you want to log into Facebook, you will give the username and password. Likewise, you'll give the database name or database endpoint and you'll click next, and from where you can retrieve your data. I can discuss more about this when I'm coming to the AWS Redshift concept, but this is the connections when I'm trying to discuss about the AWS glue. These are the main concepts I want to cover: ETL jobs, data catalogs, connections, crawlers, and triggers. There are many other resources which you want to learn, but I believe these are the basic items when you are getting for the interviews and um, jobs. These are the basic things you need to be aware of. That is what about AWS Glue I want to discuss more about. And coming to the, let me go through AWS here. S3, AWS S3, storage classes. Okay. I have told you very less about AWS S3 in last class. So I have told you only about AWS S3. What is S3? That's a storage device, I mean storage resource where you can store your data, any data you can store there. And you can query it also if it is structured data using the Athena and many resources, you can query it. So that's how S3 is using. And I want you guys to be aware with many other concepts on S3. So we have multiple classes in S3. There are multiple classes. If you're tracking Google Drive, it will cost you yearly, right? It will cost you same, even if you're using or not using that data. Even if you're retrieving or not, it will cost you same. But AWS S3 is saying, hey, we won't cost you same for every type of data you are retrieving. So I can tell you this concept, then you'll understand it easily. There are different types of classes in AWS S3. Standard class, standard IA, intelligent type.
మీరు అడిగిన క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ మీరే క్రియేట్ చేసి
Okay, sorry. Mm, where's that free form? Yeah. So we are saying there are three many types of classes. Standard class, that's a default one. When you're trying to create AWS S3 storage, when I tried to show you in last session, defaultly it would go on standard. When you're trying to create a S3 account, it will defaultly on standard. What is standard one? It is replicated into multiple availability zones. Like I told you, if your data center is in Ohio or somewhere, that is called as region. And inside region, if there are three, there may be one availability zone, two availability zones, three availability zones, multiple availability zones. So that if one area is affected due to power outage or any item, so that other availability zones can work. So when you choose the standard class, it costs you more compared to different ones. It costs you more to this AWS S3 if you're using, that will also cost you, right? So that it would cost you more compared to others, but it replicates into multiple availability zones, so that if you are dead, if you have lost your data in one availability zone, you will be still having two availability zones or other availability zones which your data to which your data have been replicated, so you don't have to worry about the data. And when we will choose the standard, when we planning to retrieve our data frequently, like for example, you have stored some data here, you are working on it daily or frequently you are working on it. In that case, you will purchase the AWS standard, AWS S3 standard. And when you will purchase the AWS standard infrequent one, AWS standard infrequent one, as the name itself it says, it is cheaper comparatively. So basically, when you are not using it frequently, basically, um, maybe you can say you have some records which you don't want to frequently use it. Maybe that's important, but you can use it later. But it's not important every time. It's just like some of your records. Okay. So you don't need it every time. So what you can do, this is saying you it's $10. This is saying you it's $5. What you will do if you are not using it frequently, what you will do? Hey, why I have to pay $10 when I'm not using it frequently? You can to make it to standard infrequent one so that you can pay only $5 because anyhow you're not going to use it again and again. But coming to the latency, there would be little latency here compared to the standard. If you can retrieve this data quickly, you can expect a little latency, very little latency. I can say if this is 99%, this can be 95%. That's how little it is. So that's not a big difference. But yeah, you will use the standard infrequent S3 storage when you are using the uh, infrequent data. Intelligent tiering. What it does, what it does is it uses the artificial intelligence and automation, some automation. It automatically understands, hey, this guy is having standard. If you have to adopt it, not automatically it won't do it. You have to take this intelligent tiering subscription. What it will do, so if you have some data in standard, if you are not using it, once it understood, hey, this in your mobile also you're having some applications, right? It will say, hey, you are not using this application since last 5 days, like this. It will analyze and it will understand, hey, this guy is not using this data for a long time, so it automatically moves that data from standard to standard IA. That's how intelligent tiering works. That may reduce your cost automatically with their help. Okay. And there is one zone IA, one zone infrequent, you can say. Here it is not replicated into multiple zones. Your data will be stored in single place, single availability zone. Like you can say your data maybe in other data centers, you can say there are three hard disks. I'm just telling you example hard disks. If one hard disk is destroyed, you'll be having two, but here you have only one hard disk. If your data is gone, that is gone. So basically, what data you'll keep here? You'll keep non-critical, non-emergency data. Maybe it's not too important, but you just have to maintain it due to some policies. That's it. If you even if you lost the data, if you felt, hey, that's not a big issue, then you can keep it in one zone IA. So it is saying no replication, only one availability zone. There are other classes of storage: glacier and deep archive. As the name indicates, glacier, frozen, deep archive. Archive, you know, right? What when we will archive, but don't even want to see it. Like it's not important. So this type of archives get stored in the archive storage classes basically. So if I come here, storage classes, pricing, security, uh, general purpose, you know, yeah. If you can see this table, you guys will understand. Availability, see, these are different classes that I mentioned. Availability, everything is available, 99%. Availability service level agreement. Everything is agreement because you're taking AWS resources, even if you pay a little more or less, but AWS is promising you, hey, you can have my service, like very good service. It's not like if you pay less, I'll give you less service. See, it's saying the data will be available and it is designed for availability. It's 99% availability zones. If you can see, if every region may be having three or more availability zones also, so it is saying it is your data will be in greater than three, but here you can see only one here. What is this? One zones. You subscribed for this so that your data is storing only at one place. If this something happened wrong to this, your data will be gone. But here, your data will be in other three places. See, there is no duration charge here, storage duration charge here, but in other zones where you are not using it usually. So up to data is your data is more than 30 days, then only you are getting charge. Retrieval charge. Basically, you won't be charged anything to retrieve your data if it is pasted here. But per GB, it will retrieve you when you are choosing standard IA. Because in standard IA, infrequent data, if you kept it here, you are saying you don't need the data, but you're trying to retrieve the data from there. So it will charge you little. Yeah, so these are all the lifecycle transactions. So this is the good understanding about AWS S3 that I can say that's a basic one. If you want to go deep down, you can go. Yeah, I will share you the links of the recordings in the last three classes in the YouTube that I have posted. Please go and practice that. And yeah, if you have any demands to discuss, you guys can let me know in the WhatsApp personally. Thank you so much.